Green New Scam, high taxes, no energy independence, woke military, Russia, Ukraine, Israel, Iran, all electric car lunacy, and so much more are looking to destroy our once great USA. May they rot in hell. Again, Merry Christmas. I'm Stephanie Keith.
And I am Tara Manjekovic. And we are unapologetically outspoken.
Hey everyone, happy Wednesday. I've had the whole week confused because of Christmas. It just throws me off. But we figured that since it was just Christmas, we would do a Christmas wrap-up episode where we talk about the White House and the Christmas messages and just the feel of this holiday season in Joe Biden's America. So Joe Biden's Christmas Eve message on X read, quote, "This Christmas Eve, my wish for you and your family is that you take a few moments of quiet reflection and find that stillness that's at the center of the Christmas story. May you find peace in this silent night and warmth from those surrounding you." And I just had to laugh because I think if there's one thing we can all agree on, it's that under Joe Biden, there is no peace right now in America or in the whole world. And most of that is a direct reflection of him and his policies. So I'm like, wow, what a message to choose. I tried to find video and I swear they're like hiding this stuff because he just is a buffoon. But I almost fell asleep listening to one of his Christmas messages. So I didn't even want to play that for you guys. But, you know, it's like when we kind of reflect on the past year, I think that we can all agree like this country is more divided than ever. And now it's like not only is there this war that's raging in Ukraine, but now we have this Israel-Gaza conflict, and it's just a shit show. And Fox News reported that dozens of pro-Palestinian protesters gathered outside the homes of Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin and National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan, making sure that their entire neighborhood didn't have any peace on Christmas Day. And I guess that this was organized by the far-left group, the People's Forum, which called on all of their supporters to show up to, quote, "all out for Palestine. Christmas is canceled," end quote. And it was like this protest that they also organized for New York City on Christmas Day. And they had told their supporters to bring candles, rubble, and any materials from a nativity scene. And hundreds of these pro-Palestinian protesters were just like wreaking havoc all over New York City. Like they were chanting things like "Christmas is canceled here." And I guess they were throwing fake blood on nativity scenes and basically just reminding all of us that, yeah, there's no peace in Joe Biden's America.
Yeah, there was a similar scene in Los Angeles on Christmas Eve when hundreds of pro-Palestinian protesters decided that they were going to protest in Beverly Hills. And LAPD officers basically had to prevent this group of more than 400 people from entering the Beverly Center. Now, that's like a high-class upscale shopping mall in Beverly Hills. And you had, all the Christmas shoppers doing their last-minute holiday shopping. And I sometimes question, like, if this were not in Beverly Hills, would they have made that much of an effort to keep them from going into the mall, But surprisingly, there were no major issues, and the group actually dispersed when LAPD declared an unlawful assembly. But then in San Francisco, you had hundreds of pro-Palestinian protesters gathering in the shopping district there in Union Square. One of them apparently scaled an 83-foot tall Christmas tree while holding a sign saying "Free Palestine" and like tried to shove the sign into the middle of the tree. You had several protesters there that were arrested on assault and felony vandalism charges, and the city's Department of Emergency Management had to post a social media alert telling people not to shop there and to avoid the area. And I read an article in this publication called Egyptian Streets, and it was saying that these pro-Palestinian protests were purposely taking place in major cities across America on Christmas Eve and Christmas Day as part of their, quote, ongoing civic and commercial disruptions, end quote. And their slogan for the protests was, quote, "no Xmas as usual in a genocide," end quote. And then, excuse me, this one's really sad. So, Fox News reported that on Christmas Eve, pro-Palestinian protesters ambushed a Christmas community fundraiser for blind children in Australia, where 10,000 people were in attendance, and it was being broadcast live. And protesters stormed in with Palestinian flags. They took over the stage. One of them grabbed the host's microphone and started screaming, "Free Palestine," and a bunch of stuff about Gaza before they could actually have security drag them away. And this event is called the Carols by Candlelight, and it's the largest annual fundraiser for Vision Australia's children's services. And the proceeds go to the families and children who are blind. Like, what the fuck is wrong with these people that you're crashing a fundraiser for blind kids?
They have no
And
shame. Like
no,
literally, they stop at nothing.
yeah, absolutely none. And then, like, speaking of protests, the climate change clowns were out in DC to ruin Christmas shopping for people at the downtown holiday market in the Gallery Place neighborhood. I was reading an article in the Daily Caller where these climate change activists put on Santa hats and they started singing Christmas carols. But they changed all the lyrics to like fit the climate crisis agenda. So some of the songs were like, "I'm dreaming of a just workplace," instead of "I'm dreaming of a white Christmas." One was "the 12 days of crisis" instead of "the 12 days of Christmas." Climate change is coming to town instead of Santa Claus is coming to town. And my favorite, "it's beginning to look apocalyptic" instead of "it's beginning to look a lot like Christmas." Like, Stephanie, is it really necessary to try and ruin people's holiday shopping with this fucking climate agenda?
No, it's not necessary, but I think it just points to how these people are just filled with hate. And that's really what it's
Yeah.
about. They don't want to see people celebrating, they don't want to see people happy. So they're going to take
Mhm.
like a joyous holiday and just shit on it. Like that's what they're all about. It really isn't about helping anyone or climate or peace. It's about getting their rage out that they feel because they're whatever, fucked up. I mean, I don't know, but that's just it's really sad, and especially targeting an event for blind children. Like
Yeah.
how much lower can you stoop? I mean,
Mhm.
awful. Well, both Elon Musk and Donald Trump had special messages for Biden on Christmas. So Elon Musk posted on X, quote, "Most of the Democratic Party is controlled by the unions. They carry far more weight than the environmentalists. And Biden particularly so, he gladly admits it. In Biden's speech posted on whitehouse.gov, he literally says the UAW elected me," end quote. And the White House whole debacle between Elon Musk and Joe Biden started like a while back because I guess there was some um, event, the EV summit that they had where Joe Biden purposely did not invite Elon Musk. And so Elon Musk did another post where he said, quote, "Let's not forget the White House giving Tesla the cold shoulder, excluding us from the EV summit and crediting GM with leading the electric car revolution in the same quarter that they delivered 26 electric cars, not a typo, and Tesla delivered 300,000. So, he's just like making the whole point that like obviously Tesla has done way more in the electric vehicle space than anyone else, but they refuse to acknowledge him. And I'm sure like the fact that Tesla isn't unionized has a lot to do with it, but I'm also certain that like him buying X and allowing it to be a place for free speech probably played into it as well. And then you then you have Trump posting on Truth Social. And I just like have to laugh. Like he's got to be the most hilarious person to hang out with on the holidays. But he posted, quote, "Merry Christmas to all, including crooked Joe Biden's only hope, deranged Jack Smith, the out of control lunatic who just hired outside attorneys fresh from the swamp, unprecedented, to help him with his poorly executed witch hunt against Trump and MAGA. Included also are world leaders, both good and bad, but none of which are as evil and sick as the thugs we have inside our country, who, with their open borders, inflation, Afghanistan surrender, Green New Scam, high taxes, no energy independence, woke military, Russia, Ukraine, Israel, Iran, all electric car lunacy, and so much more are looking to destroy our once great USA. May they rot in hell. Again, Merry Christmas.
Oh my God. Yeah. Trump was on a rampage with his Truth Social holiday post because one of the other things he posted was, quote, "It's hard to have a truly great Christmas when you have a crooked and incompetent president who wants to put his political opponent in jail and who has been working hard for a change, illegally using all the levers of law enforcement to do so. We are in the fight of our lives to save our country from madness and doom. MAGA 2024, end quote. But I want to say on a lighter note, like my mom is on the Trump mailing list where he like sends out messages to his supporters. And he sent, the family Christmas card, very patriotic with him and Melania and the tree, and it just looked very nice. And he basically said in his message, it was a little more positive, it wasn't as angry. He said that, Christmas is a time for hope and faith. And we need to remind ourselves that our faith isn't in vain. And like, even though we're may not be seeing it right now, there's always a light that shines in the darkness. And he wrote, quote, "I have faith that by next Christmas, we will be closing this dark chapter in American history and our glorious nation will be back on the path to greatness. Never lose hope," end quote. So, Stephanie, I'm going to try to take those words to heart and not lose hope, despite the fact that Biden is literally destroying our country.
Yeah, and as crazy as some of the messages are that Trump posts, it's like he really is good about every holiday, like anything that happens, whether it's a holiday or an event. I feel like he does always lace it with hope and like getting back to making America great again, which is now like a bad thing to say. And you never see that with Biden, and you sure as hell don't hardly ever see Kamala. I mean, they don't even let her speak anymore because it's just a word salad. So, I mean, it's nice that he's still putting out these messages, and I hope he's right. And I hope that we do have a change next year because, my God, we can't deal with any more Biden. This is getting crazy. Um, so this kind of just cracked me up. So Biden gave Christmas clemency to 11 people who were jailed on drug crimes. And according to the New York Post, 9 of the people were jailed on crack cocaine charges and 2 for meth. And so the article brought up this like viral video that's going around, and it shows a split screen of first son Hunter Biden weighing out 21 grams of crack cocaine and smoking it, while his father is on the other side of the screen in his Senate speech that he and the late Senator Strom Thurmond had passed a law like where they mandated 5 years in prison for smaller amounts of crack. And like in the video, it shows Biden saying, quote, "If you have a piece of crack cocaine no bigger than a quarter, you go to jail for 5 years. You get no probation. You get nothing other than 5 years in jail. The judge doesn't have a choice." Well, clearly Hunter Biden never got 5 years in jail, but it's nice to see that Biden let 9 of those people on crack cocaine out. And this article went on to say that Biden issued a proclamation expanding eligibility for pardons under the policy that he announced last year, which allowed anyone convicted federally or in DC of simple marijuana possession to have their record wiped clean. But all this ended up doing was highlighting the fact that this was a big part of like Biden's campaign promise, where he said he would free everyone from jail that were there on marijuana charges. Yet there's still 2,000 people as we speak sitting in jail for marijuana. And keep in mind, like, this is hilarious to me that Kamala Harris convicted 1,956 people for pot crimes while she was San Francisco's district attorney. So, I mean, you could say that all the people sitting in jail are probably people that like went there because of Kamala Harris.
Yeah.
But this whole thing just turned into like one big joke on social media, just highlighting the complete hypocrisy of Joe and Kamala and the whole Biden family. And I'd also like to remind everyone that they never did solve the mystery of whose cocaine was at the White House a few months back. I mean, I never heard that they caught anyone. Did you?
No, that just
No.
disappeared under the carpet with another Trump case that came up. We're never gonna know.
Yeah.
But I feel like Biden is just on the ESG train again because he gave a statement that, his actions in doing this are going to help make the promise of equal justice a reality. But let's keep in mind that, like, this whole situation only applies to pardoning people convicted of simple possession or use of marijuana on federal lands and in Washington, D.C. It doesn't apply to state level marijuana convictions or people who violate state drug laws. And state convictions are the majority of drug cases in the United States. And from what I read, no federal prisoners are going to be eligible for release as a result of Biden's pardon anyway. And the people who were covered are going to have to submit an application to the Justice Department's Pardon Attorney Office. I didn't even know we had one of those, in order to receive certificates of pardon that they can then use for housing and employment purposes. And marijuana is still a Schedule I drug, according to the USDA, and it hasn't been decriminalized federally, so it's still an illegal narcotic and a federal crime. So what the fuck is the actual message here? Like, what if they make it sound like, oh my God, thousands of people are going to be released from jail because Biden's pardoning everybody. And really, that's not the case. Basically, this is like an attempt by the Biden administration to gain votes by appealing to all the stoners out there who don't understand the legality of state versus federal marijuana laws. I guess if you were caught smoking pot in a federal park, maybe you're good to go. But other than that, this isn't going to make much of a difference.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think that this is like typical Democrats. They say all these great things, right?
Mhm.
Like he said, "Oh, I'm going to free all these people from jail." And they're counting on the fact that people are going to buy into what they say and not their actions. They're hoping no one
Yeah.
pays attention. And it's like Joe Biden and Kamala together have put more people in jail for drugs than probably any other like president and VP in history, just like he's probably the most racist politician
Yes.
we've had since, back in the slave days. And yet, like, he's supposed to be the person of equality now. It's like, give me a break.
Right.
But that's what they're banking on. They're banking on these young people and people that are not paying attention to just buy into whatever they say, and then they can do whatever they want to do, and no one's ever going to call them out on it. Like, it's just it's laughable at this point because I think that thanks to social media, people are paying attention, which is
Mhm.
probably again why they want to ban TikTok because this is where people talk about this shit. And one other thing I had to bring up that I totally forgot about. Did you see Dr. Jill Biden's Christmas decorations at the White House?
I did not know.
Oh my gosh. Okay, everyone listening has to go look up the videos. So there's all these videos pretty much everywhere. Like it's not even just TikTok. Like even I think some news stations were reporting on it, but it starts out showing Melania Trump's Christmas at the White House, which was just beautiful. It was like themed a white Christmas, and there were all of these little ballerinas, like these kids dressed in white, and it was just graceful and beautiful and everything you think about for like a white Christmas. And then Jill Biden's. Oh my, it's like it's kind of scary, but at the same time you're laughing. So everyone is comparing it to the Hunger Games because they bring in all of these dancers who, by the way, every single one of them are Black Lives Matter activists.
Mhm.
And they're doing these bizarre movements and they're dressed in these costumes that literally look like the Hunger Games. And the music and everything, it's just creepy. And it just totally paints the picture of like the Trump White House versus the Biden. And it's hilarious. And it's like you couldn't make a better like it just blows your mind. So everyone has to go and like actually see it to believe it. But yeah, Black Lives Matter activists, and I'm pretty sure that like the ballerinas were men dressed as women. I'm not 100%, but just based on my own judgment looking at them, I think it was men dressed like these female ballerinas. So yeah, that was Jill Biden's little Christmas decor thing. Very weird.
Okay, I'm gonna have to look this up as soon as we're done recording.
Oh my gosh. Well, regardless of where we're at in the world right now, I hope that everyone had a good Christmas. And I just like you, Tara, I hope that Trump's message of hope is real and that we can be hopeful that something will change next year in 2024. But that's our Christmas wrap up. I hope that everyone has a great rest of the week, and we'll see you back here on Friday. Thanks for tuning in. If you're sick of all the crazy shit going on in our country and you want to express your support and patriotism for the show, head on over to our Etsy store at UO Patriot Chicks and check out our new stickers. The link can also be found on our website. If you love the show and you want exclusive episodes, support the podcast and join the conversation by becoming a member of our Patreon community. We'll be posting weekly member-only podcast episodes and content that isn't available on the weekly podcast. Every Patreon member will also get a free Unapologetically Outspoken sticker and updates about our new sticker release before they're made public. And be sure to follow us on TikTok at Unapologetically Outspoken. And if you haven't done so already, please rate and review the podcast. The more you support us, the more people we can reach. So help us spread the word.